Hi guys, it's Lena here, and I wanted to show you the ink that we got in the store. It's by Ink on 3, and we got 3 of their ink pads. This one is called Blackout Detail Ink, and there's Juicy Clear Embossing and Watermark ink, and Fade Out No Line Coloring Detail ink. And I just wanted to show you a few things that I did with these. I used the No Line Fade Out ink to do this card, which I posted in the group. You just stamp it, and then when you color, the line kind of disappears under the ink. So it looks like you did it yourself instead of using a stamp. It looks like you drew the picture. It's really cool. This one I used the black detail ink, and you can see all the lines are very bold. And this ink is kind of like a VersaFine and a Memento cross. It stamps detail very well, and it stamps very black, but it dries like a Memento, so you can color right away. You don't have to wait for it. You don't have to heat set it. So, a few things that I'm going to show you is some embossing with the Juicy Clear ink and watermark pad. This is like a Versamark pad, if you've ever used those for embossing, but this one is very, very juicy. I've used both. I now prefer this one, just because I think the embossing powder sticks to it a lot better, and I like that, and I only have to stamp it once, and I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to show you this one first. To use it as a watermark, and if you've never did that, that's just stamping on a mid-tone paper, and then you don't have to color it or anything. It just leaves the design. So when you do that, you want to choose a stamp, and I'm using the whale from Happy to See You from the Greeting Farm, and you just ink it up, and then I'm just using this blue, and you stamp it down. And you can see that it leaves the image on there, and then you just let it dry and it'll stay there. It's great for words or pretty much anything that you don't want to color in. I mean, you could color it, but it's pretty much that's what it's for, is just to use as a watermark. So you can use the stamp pad that way, or you can use it for heat embossing. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm using watercolor paper just to show you how well this ink works. I know a lot of times when you use watercolor paper, the image isn't very crisp and it doesn't show up very well because of the texture on watercolor paper. So for this, I wanted to show you just how well it works. So when I heat emboss, I use an embossing buddy. And this is just a bag of, I don't know what they put in there, but some say it's cornstarch. I have no idea. I know you can use cornstarch if you want. And you just tap it on your paper or rub it. I usually rub it just so powder doesn't go everywhere. And this just keeps it so your embossing powder doesn't stick to places that you don't want it to stick. It will only stick to the image. And then I use a tray for the embossing powder. So you ink up your image, and you want to make sure that your stamps are really clean. You can see that I've actually probably didn't have the most clean stamp before, so I've left a mark on here. It doesn't hurt it at all, but, you know, if you're really picky about that kind of stuff, you want to make sure your stamp is clean. So you just ink it up, and you can kind of see, I don't know in the video if you can see it as well as on here, but then I just put it over the tray. And I'm using Nuvo embossing powder. This one is Gold Enchantment. I just got this and I love it. It's so pretty. I can't wait to do Christmas cards in it. So you just tap some out. I don't tap it over the whole image. I just tap it on part, and then I'll just shake it down so it goes over it. And then you can see the parts that you missed. And then I just flick it, and that usually will get rid of all the extras. So you can see the image is really nicely covered, and you can add some more where we want it. And then you just heat it, and it's going to get loud here while I run this, so I'll try to talk over it. So if you never heat embossed, you just run the heat gun well, I don't want to say it after it's turned on, but you run it over until it turns shiny, and you'll be able to tell when it's working. Hopefully you can tell in this video. You can see it's turning shiny as it works. And you can tell when it's done because it raises up and you can see. And now you could watercolor inside of that, or you could color with Copics or pencils, or you could just leave it the way it is. So that is what the Juicy Clear Embossing and Watermark ink pad is for. And then on the blackout ink, you can do like you would a memento. You stamp and you can use it instantly. You don't have to heat it. It dries faster than Versamark or VersaFine. And to me, it's much bolder than the memento. And I like that about it. Memento is kind of, to me, even if when you juice the pad, it's kind of lightly colored. It's like a light black. And I like it to be really, really dark. So I'm going to show you, and like I said, I did it with these images, but I'm going to show you with this little octopus, how dark it can be. And you just barely tap it. I mean, you don't have to do it hard. This stuff is very juicy. And you just stamp it. And you can see it's pretty bold, and you can instantly start coloring it. You don't have to wait. And like I said, you can use watercolor, you can use pencils, you can use Copics. So whichever you prefer on that one. So that's a really cool black ink that you can use for anything. It's waterproof and it's hybrid and it's acid free. So you can use it in scrapbooks if you want. And then next, I have the Fade Out No Line Coloring Detail ink. And this is amazing. If you have not tried no line coloring, I suggest this ink for you. It is a little darker than the Memento. Let me grab that. This is the one I used to use, the Desert Sand, which is great. But this one is a little darker so I can see a little better what I'm doing, which is great for beginning, which I am. And it also seems to disappear a little more when you color. And you can use it with the watercolors, Copics, pencils, crayons, whatever you want. And so when you use this one, you just stamp your image. Let me find that whale again. And I'm using the same piece of paper, so you can see I am using watercolor again, so you can see how it stamps well on there. So you just ink it up and press it down. And you can see how dark it is. But when you color, I'll show you. I don't want to color because it takes a long time and this video is already long, but when you color over it, you can't see it. I mean, you can see very faintly the lines, but that's just on light color. And so it really looks like you drew the image instead of using a stamp. So it's really cool. And it dries instantly, so you don't have to heat set it or anything. So that's the 3 inks. There is more videos on the group that I shared today. And it will go into more details. It actually shows you the coloring with the fade out ink if you want to see it with watercolors or Copics. It is amazing. And they are on sale right now. So they're on sale until Friday at midnight, 20% off, and you get free shipping. So you might want to take advantage of that now and get all 3 of them. I think it is $24 right now. So thank you for watching, and I would love to see what you do with them if you do. So please post on the group. Thanks.